Alright, I want to be able to spray this can of Mr. Hobby Super Clear Gloss through my airbrush. Here's how to decant a spray can. Here's what we'll need. First, we'll need a glass container for the gloss varnish. Here's the Tamiya paint jar. Also, the can of varnish or spray paint. Next, we need a straw, preferably a bendy one. And some wide Tamiya masking tape. And Blu-Tac to help create a seal. Alright, so we're going to want to cover the jar with some wide masking tape to prevent the liquid from escaping the container and making a huge mess. We also want to avoid creating a pressure vessel. When we decant this, we want the propellant gas to escape as we transfer the contents from the can to the jar. We first want to add a hole for the straw to enter. More importantly, however, we want to punch holes into the tape to let the propellant gas escape. Next, we want to affix the straw to the spray can's nozzle so we can transfer its contents into the jar. Luckily, the straw is already at a pretty good height. Now, because the straw isn't a perfect fit for the nozzle, I made a tiny slice so I could shrink the straw slightly. I held that in place with a small strip of masking tape. To affix the straw to the nozzle, I wrapped the Blu-Tac around the nozzle and the straw. But first, be safe. Wear a respirator. Also, some goggles. Protect them eyes. If you're going to use a spray booth, make sure it ventilates outside. Alternatively, you can spray in an open garage or outside.
My eyes!
So this was my first attempt at decanting. It unfortunately got a bit messy. Alright, so the first part is to make a stronger seal between the straw and the nozzle. We're going to use some Apoxie Sculpt. Let's mix equal parts A and B and combine the straw and the cap and let dry. We now have a great seal between the cap and the straw. We also need to shorten the straw. We made a pretty big mess before spraying the propellant into the already agitated liquid. We want to avoid that. The shorter straw will allow the contents of the can to enter the jar, as well as letting the gas escape without agitating the liquid.
Final round. Fight!
Now that we learned how to create a stronger seal on the nozzle as well as to not agitate the liquid, let's decant the matte varnish. This is really easy. We just swap the sealed nozzle and spray away, keeping everything well ventilated. And remember to not agitate that liquid and let it degas properly for a few hours after spraying. And that's it. Now we have a bottle of Mr. Super Clear matte varnish and Mr. Super Clear gloss varnish. I hope you learned as much as I did. See you next time.